YouTube page.
Yep.
Alrighty, I do apologise for the audio issues I just had. It seems to YouTube doesn't seem to like the high audio settings that I'd selected, but we're back. Do apologise again for the little long wait. A few new drivers, so I had to go over a bit in the briefing, but about a minute and a half away from race 1. And, well, Pete, that gives us just a little bit of time to go over the championship standings, which after last round changed quite a bit.
Yes, we have seen Steve choke a little bit in the championship at the last round, not having the best of nights, and Liam Mitch came on pretty strong, as well as Scott Stancliffe and Block Knight, and yeah, the championship fight is on with only 18 points now, and it's switched. It's now Liam Mitch leading.
Yeah, so Burko did have a bit of a lead in the standings, but yeah, that last two rounds really haven't gone his way, and now finds himself trailing in the standings. So certainly something to look out for. And both those drivers, third and fourth on the grid. So we might see some early fireworks in that one. But there's also a bit of a cloud under the line, Mitch, as well. If he does get reported for another incident and is found guilty for an incident, he'll find himself with a one-round ban. So he has to be goody two-shoes for the rest of the season. So that's something to look out for. And then in third place, got Nether. Distant third, but he's got Turmo on his heels now that Liam has dropped out. No Wayne Spencer here this evening. Got Scott Stancliffe, a man on a charge, and looking to pick up maximum points here from Bathurst. And if he puts it all together, he may be able to sneak up into the top 5 in the standings, but he's probably not going to be able to close down Nether or Turmo. Got Paul Morris / BDS, who hasn't appeared since Hidden Valley in 8th. Matt Cecil with PC issues sidelining him this evening. He's in 9th. NZ Snipes in 10th. May see him jump up into 9th place in the standings, maybe even 8th if all things go his way. Over the page, Bolger in 11th, followed by Rodney in 12th. Glenn Miles 13th, followed by Brian Walsh and Tim Redmond, another man to look out for. Didn't have the best qualifying session this evening, Pete, but certainly going to be one that's going to be challenging for the win, don't you think?
Yeah, it's certain on for a charge to win this race. Going back from quali though, we did see Scott Stancliffe pull out a 2:05.5, and he had more pace in it. And Hans Brunswick did a 2:05.7, which I believe is the best lap he's done here. And coming from Super 2, that's honestly pretty impressive. As I believe to this day, we've only had 3 main game runners hit a 2:04, and one of them only just reached it recently.
Yeah, so incredible pace from a lot of these drivers. Even in the 5s is very, very fast around here. So great effort from a lot of these guys. And as you can see, just a quick look over in the team standings. We've got Holden Racing Team, unsurprisingly, on top. I think you said last round that they've actually clinched the teams championship, or they're very, very close either way. Triple Eight Race Engineering in second, although without Liam Spencer for a round or two. That sort of dinted their charge, but they're looking good in second. Techno Autosport in third. Tickford in fourth. Super Monster Energy in fifth. Ford Performance Racing sixth. Brad Jones in seventh, followed by Triple Eight Satellite Engineering in eighth. Gary Rogers Motorsport, they're ones to look out for. They could jump as high as seventh if things go their way, followed by Jack Daniels rounding out the top 10. So has ticked over to the race session. And now we just wait. Well, we are on the formation lap and about to get going. Well, Pete, why don't you run us through the grid here for race 1, for the big one here in Super 2.
Certainly. So on pole we have Scott Stancliffe with his 2:05.5. A very impressive time to get no matter what series you're racing in the V8s. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be really, really competitive. We've got Hans Brunswick with his very nice 2:05.7 in second place, with the championship contenders Steve Burko and Liam Mitch, also teammates, taking out the second row of the grid. In fifth, we have Tim Redmond, who probably didn't have the qualifying session that he wanted, but still in a very good position. NZ Snipes, who had a surprisingly quick time in sixth place. Daniel Cox out of seventh. Bit of a gap on the grid back to Netherrealmian in eighth, who will be much pleased with the time that he did compared to what he was doing in practice. Fifth row of the grid is taken out by the Norton Hornets of Cheese and Kalen Duncan. In the sixth row, we have Orjit Mishra, who I believe has done his best quality result of the season. It's a very nice time from him. And Taipan starting next to him. On the next row of the grid, we have Termo and Rody. Termo probably a bit surprised to be this far down the grid, and that's really going to be good for Nether in the championship fight. And Rody doing one of his better qualifying sessions position-wise for quite some time of the season. On the next row of the grid, we have debutant Dane Liccardo. Haven't seen much of him, but he did do pretty decent. And then we have Brian Walsh, who has been getting quicker and quicker as this season's gone on. Good luck to him. Then we have another debutant in Lachlan Locke in 17th in the Xbox Falcon, with Glenn Miles behind him, second of the 888 satellite cars. And on the last row of the grid, we have two more debutants in Lachlan Horan and Michael Pollard, starting in his Jack Daniels Nissan.
Yeah, so we haven't seen too much of those guys, obviously, being first. Obviously, this is their first round. Haven't seen too much of them in practice either, so we don't really know how they'll go. But hopefully they do enjoy themselves and we see them finish out the season. Still got, the drivers still aren't even at the final corner yet, so this last little bit of the formation lap is taking a little while. But certainly going to be a very, very interesting two races with, as we said, Redmond we do expect to be quite quick race pace wise. I know a number of drivers, Hans in particular, is a bit worried about some of the pace that he was able to pull off. But there are some quick drivers, obviously Burko and Liam Mitch also quite quick as well. So these top 5 cars will probably see drive away, barring errors. That said though, it is Bathurst, Pete, and well, you never know, they might take each other out at turn 1 or 2 and we could have an unknown winner.
Yeah, well, you could even go back to last year's AMSOZ Super 2, which is actually the main series in AMSOZ, just had a name change. We've seen Devonish, who was on the fight for a championship, who actually ended his hopes of winning the championship at this round. So could see that happen.
Certainly could. Hopefully it doesn't. Still waiting for drivers to form up on the grid. And there we go. The lights are on. Away we go. And Hans got a fantastic start. So Hans will lead the way into turn 1. And this is 20 cars. It's a hell corner. Stancliffe looking to hold on. A little bit of contact between the Nismo and Icebreak car down the field. But Hans leads the way, followed by Stancliffe. And we've got one of the HRT cars being overtaken by Redmond. And that was Liam Mitch. So Mitch down to P5. And Redmond and Burko side by side now in to turn 2.
So a pretty clean start. No one has really even hit each other going through the first few corners, which is very nice to see.
Oh, there we go. A bit of contact. Someone clipping the wall or another car. But no major incidents so far, touch wood. That's a very, very good start from Hans. Sees him lead by 1.1 seconds over Stancliffe. And we've got Burko, Liam Mitch, Redmond, Cox, Snipes, Netherrealmian, Duncan, Cheese, Mishra, Taipan, Termo, Orodi, Locke, Liccardo, Walsh, Miles, Horan and Pollard. Stancliffe a little bit wide there through the S's, and I think that was Burko just clipping the wall. And we've seen Lion Mitch actually get past Redmond somewhere, so I don't know where that happened, but he's made the move done now. Redmond making a move before his elbow, a little bit of contact with Lion Mitch, but Lion Mitch lives to fight another day. But Redmond not too far away, and he will have the slipstream, but Lion Mitch will also have the slipstream from his teammate. That said though, Burko's had a good run out of Forest Elbow. He's looking to make a move, and looks like the two Norton cars and Nether also caught up in the slipstream as well. There they go. Two Norton cars side by side. And that's Stancliffe wide at the chase. He's on the grass. And there's another car off on the grass. Two cars off on the grass. It's all happening here towards the end of this first lap. And we've got Cox and Snipes battling out into the final corner as well. But now they make a mistake at the chase. And that sees him drop down behind Duncan. But bit of action already on the first lap here, Brute.
Yeah, really started to fire up at the end of that lap. Hopefully these drivers do manage to get their cars under control and ease into this race in the next few laps, because the tyre wear around here can get pretty atrocious by the end of 10 laps.
I did see it looked like Burko's car just... Burko's car just warped there for a second. We'll just ride on board Lion Mitch here for a second. Now this is Lion Mitch. Now he was running behind his teammate, but you will see Burko's car here just disappear and then reappear behind it. So a PC problem there. See, there he goes, disappears, and there's Burko behind him. So that's a bit of lag there on Burko's end, has dropped him down a position through no fault of his own. But that is just the game sometimes. Had Stancliffe put in a good first sector, he's gained a couple tenths on Hans Brunswick. But still, Hans doing the job. The first five have broken away. Bit of a gap between Redmond and Cox. So Cox now has got ahead of Snipes.
A quick little thing on Steve's little lag issue he had. He actually has a problem with his internet, where his internet likes to disconnect for a split second, and it really does cause him some grief when it comes to battles on AMS. Sad to say.
Well, there's a difference between lag and a PC issue though. Like when someone disappears like that and reappears, that is a
it is his internet.
That is a PC problem what it's had there. So he would have a slight freeze, because that's when you pause on the screen is a PC issue, and you reappear where there's a bit of contact between Redmond and Burko there. And when it's internet related, you'll reappear, but you'll reappear where the game thinks you are. It won't just be in a frozen spot. So I reckon that is a PC problem, not an internet issue. So Burko and Redmond went side by side into the chase, and Burko, bit of contact, but able to get the position done. And we've got Cox and Snipes now side by side into turn one. So Snipes obviously had a good run through the chase in the back end of the lap there, and he's now back up into P6. But he's still got to contend with Cox, who's looking to make a move. Further back though, now that's lost out to Cheese. But looking to get that position back though. And
Stancliffe has just taken the lead.
Indeed he has, so we'll just cut to that. So a replay. So he had a good final end to that lap in the slipstream and up the inside there. At turn 2. Hans not letting him get away though, and Lion Mitch also right there in tow. And Burko just falling away at this stage. So you're right on board. Car 97. A bit of a lock up there from Hans. He's dropped a little bit away now from Stancliffe, and he's got Lion Mitch all over the back of him. And in fact, Burko also closing in on this lot as well. Oh, and I don't know if there was contact or he lost it there, but around goes Hans, so we'll ride on board and see if that was a mistake or if that was contact. Oh no, that was contact. Lion Mitch got into him a couple times there. And it's allowing Stancliffe to get away. And it looks like Lion Mitch just slowed down there just to make sure that he didn't gain a position out of that. That's allowed Redmond to close up as well. But very, very hot and heavy here for second place.
Redmond is on an absolute belter of a lap too. Has put in 2 very good sectors in a row. Just really closed that gap in.
The slipstream down the straight certainly not going to hurt his chances of a very quick lap. 2:06.8 from him and 2:08.0 for our race leader. So significantly faster than the cars in front, aside from Burko, who did a 7.3.
I believe we've just had Orjet DNF through lag.
We'll just cut back. So he was behind Taipan, and yeah, that looks like internet issues because he's just disappeared at the chase there. So unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. Sometimes got Walsh and Horan battling out for P15. Horan looking to make the move into turn 1. But locks a brake and also backed out of it as well. So Walsh holding on there. Also got Locke and Rudy fairly close together on the road. And we've also got a battle for 9th place between Cheese, Netherrealmian and Turmo. So Netherrealmian and Turmo duking out for 3rd in the championship standings. And then further ahead looks like Snipes just edging away from Cox there in 7th.
Had Stancliffe make a few little tiny errors at the front of this race. Has really allowed Hans to get back in. And the errors are creeping in for Burko a little bit too. He's hit a few walls on this lap so far.
These drives will be very lucky. It's only 25% damage modifier. As we see Line Mitch try and make a move at Forest Elbow, but nowhere near close enough. And Hans just shutting the door. Hans, as you can see on the front right of his car, he's clipped the wall somewhere as well. Well, obviously he did last lap with Forest Elbow after the contact with Line Mitch. But once again, side by side now at the chase. Got Burko there as well. Redmond might be in the best position of all here if there's contact between these guys. And Brunswick he's going to hold on up the inside there. It's very rare you see a driver hold on around the outside. And this time the driver on the inside holds. And once again, Hans very, very defensive at Murray's. Burko having to go defensive from Redmond in behind. So very, very good racing here up at the front. 2:08.3 for Brunswick. Didn't see what the lap time was for Stancliffe, but probably a couple tenths faster.
He did a 2:07.9.
There you go.
Only driver in the 7s on that lap. Most of this pack here were all in the mid-8s after the little bit of a tussle on that lap.
Further afield though, just having a look, we've got Nether and Cheese very, very close together here at turn 2. Got Taipan also closing in on this battle as well. The battle's up and down the field. Go through the cutting. So 2 Naught cars having a pretty good run. As a collective, I think this is the highest that they've both run all season. So Cheese and Duncan doing a good job at the moment in 8th and 9th place. So Cheese drops outside tyres there on the grass, and it allows Nether once again to close right up. And Cheese a little bit wide there just before the dipper. Again, Nether unable to make him pay there, and now he's coming under pressure from Turmo. He may have a look at Forest Elbow, but the sides against it not quite close enough this time by.
We've just had Lion Mitch try to take a very wide line going down the straight, and actually managed to mess it up a little bit, and he's really allowed the door open for Steve to have a shot at him.
Steve's hasn't quite got the job done now. He's coming under attack from Redmond, who dropped his outside tyres on the grass as well. Don't know where to look at the moment, but Stancliffe now starting to drive away. Let's skip ahead. 2:07.0, so his personal best. 2:07.6 for Hans on that lap, compared to 2:08 for Line Mitch and Burko with Redmond on an 8.1. So those guys continue to battle. We may see Hans just stretch away a little bit, and obviously, Stancliffe now he's bolted. The race is in his hands. He just doesn't have to. Well, it's very easy to make an error, but if he doesn't make one, I find it difficult to believe that he'll be toppled by Brunswick. Line Mitch, Burko or Redmond.
Funny part about this race with Stancliffe leading that not many people would know is that he's actually drunk. After he finished work today, he went out with some of his workmates, and he's apparently had a lot of Jack Daniels and beer, which is not two that you'd want to mix together and then race with. And he actually also had to be picked out and carried out of his Uber on the way home, and he's still drinking now and doing an incredible drive on the track as well.
We don't want to endorse drinking and driving, but he is doing a fair job. Did see when you were talking there, Line Mitch running wide there and clipping the wall. Again, he'll be thanking his lucky stars. It's only 25% damage. As will Hans. That contact he had with the wall would have been with 50% damage, probably giving him some severe steering damage. But Burko's had a really good run out of Forest Elbow now, right under the rear wing of his teammate and championship rival, and he's going to try and go around the outside at the chase, or at least the initial part of the chase, and then try and make a move up the inside, side by side, the two HRTs. Does Burko pull it up? He does. A little bit of contact. That's going to force Line Mitch wide. Makes the shades of 2016 here. But Burko up into third. Line Mitch under attack now from Redmond. And we'll just cut to a replay of that.
Stancliffe again has just done his fastest lap of the race. He's into the sixes.
So we're on board with Line Mitch. Now Burko was close enough. Both very, very late on the brakes. That's going to be a difficult one to call. But in the end, I think probably a racing incident, all things considered. But Redmond now up into P3 and on the podium. So Line Mitch running wide and then getting all kinds of sideways. The exit of turn 1. And Redmond getting that position.
While you're watching that replay, Lime also hit the fence out of turn 2, falling a little bit further back.
So just cracking just a little bit. After being overtaken by his teammate and championship rival. Looking to drive that little bit harder. And just a little bit under control. Not going to see any drivers anywhere near 203 land, that's for sure.
The top 5 definitely showing that commitment over the top is definitely worth it. A lot of these front runners are just committing their car around this track just that little bit harder. Obviously, you know, they most likely have a lot more experience than some of these other drivers, but it's really showing. They are really pulling a gap on the rest of the field.
They certainly are. I've had Cheese drop down the order. He's down in 14th now, so that has elevated Nether up into P9, and also Taipan's got by Termo, which is crucial in that battle for third in the championship standings, but Termo now looking to make a move to get back past Taipan. And they're side by side through the chase. Tim Redmond, fastest lap of the race, another 2:06.8 for him. So if he can get himself up into second, who knows what could happen with a little bit of luck and a little bit of alcohol in Stancliffe's system.
These front 5 drivers are really putting a show on right now. 2 of them into the 6s, the other 3 are all doing low 7s.
So just for those that don't know, obviously it is 1 times tyre wear and it's 2 times fuel. So fuel at most circuits isn't a thing, but around here they do have to tank things up. As in the background, Line Mitch wide at the cutting and in the wall, so he's falling away here. Perhaps he's just using a little bit too much of his tyres and he is starting to overheat them a little bit. As Burko, almost, I think he may have even grazed the fence there on the exit. Redmond did. I think Hans may have as well. But all these guys are very, very close together. Very, very intriguing battle here for second. Stancliffe 3 seconds down the road with a couple laps to go. Probably not going to catch him without a mistake. But battle for second is on.
Tim Redmond has again done a fastest first sector. Does help that he does have the slipstream, but he is really pushing for this lead.
Burko had a really good run coming into and through Forest Elbow, so he's right behind Brunswick. You can catch him right at the end of the straight, and he's going to go and try and go around the outside at the chase. Now he tried this earlier and couldn't quite pull it off. Can he pull it off this time? No, he's going to try the up and under again. Not going to be able to get that done. And now he's also got to worry about Redmond in behind. He's thought about the switchback, but with the rear end going a little bit light, he almost lost it there. Looked like Brunswick is going to go and lose the rear end. Murray's a slight mistake from Burko now is going to allow Redmond to have a look into turn 1. He's having a look, and that forces Burko to go very, very late on the brakes, and it will enable Brunswick to live to fight another day and give him a little bit of breathing room as well. Now Lion Mitch there in 4th. He'll be hoping that Redmond and Burko battle it out just a little bit to get him back into contention, to try and get himself a chance of getting by his teammate. So just looking a little bit further afield, got Cox and Duncan close together. Duncan having one of, if not his best run of the season so far at the moment. Cox is no slouch, but Duncan at the moment giving it all he's got, as you can see, sideways, right out sideways through turn 2. So it will be interesting to see if he can get that job done and get himself up into P7. Back towards the front though. Both these drivers in second and third right on the limit as they come into Forest Elbow. Burko has had a good run though, but again just a little bit too far away to realistically make a move at the chase this time though. They've actually made a little bit of time on Stancliffe, but do see a little bit further afield. They've got Liccardo lap traffic in the Nissan Altima just up ahead, so that's probably why he lost a bit of time, as we see Liccardo off the circuit there at the chase, so he will get out of the way for these guys, which shouldn't cause too much of an issue. But Burko with that run right behind Brunswick, not quite close enough to make a move, but probably looking to set up a move into turn 1 or turn 2 here.
Yes, and second and third have both just set PBs and have reeled in Stancliffe by a second on that lap. Stancliffe maybe just taking it easy to make sure he gets to the end.
Yeah, would have lost for sure sometime with lap traffic, but yeah, I think just taking it a little bit easy as well. As we see Hans just creeping towards the inside, doesn't want to give Burko any room, and he'll probably make a late move to the outside to set up a run. And Burko seeing that coming, he's just sent it up the inside. Can he pull it up? No, he can't. He's on the marbles. Hans will take that position. Now Redmond's going to try and go around the outside, but he's not quite close enough. Well, he had to try it. He couldn't quite pull it up, but it's probably killed off his chances unless Hans makes a mistake here at the top of the hill. So there's first, second, third, fourth, and there is fifth. So Burko doing what Whincup should have done. I'm trying to think when it was racing Winterbottom in, I think it was 2013. To see Lion Mitch off the road in the background, so he's pushing hard as well. Where that's Burko wide, he's in the fence, and that allows Redmond now up into third place on the podium, and Lion Mitch now right behind him. So didn't mention it earlier, a bit of a choke job here from Burko. He just needed to hold on at the top. He's just over driving it now. That said, he will have the slipstream. But again, you don't want to overcommit, run wide, and then end up finishing behind your championship rival.
Yes, and even just that position right there is going to mean quite a lot to Burko in the championship. Instead of finishing in third place bagging, I believe it's 129 to Light Mitch's 111, I actually do believe that would have put them equal on in the championship standings, where he's now going to have to finish ahead of Lime to get the championship back in the next race.
Yeah, so big error. Championship implications, but Stancliffe comes over to take the race 1 victory and does it half cut, so fair effort from Scott Stancliffe. Hans does a fantastic job to hold on to P2 in the end. Masterclass of defensive driving. And then Redmond, nice and patient, getting the job done, forcing the error from Burko and finishing on the podium. And then we have Burko. That late mistake could cost him dearly in the championship. Finishes 4th. Limich finishes in 5th. And they're just giving each other a little bit of a rub there. Daniel Cox in the end finishing in 6th. What happened to NZ Snipes? So NZ Snipes coming up to the final corner. He must... What has happened? So it says he's DNF'd and is in 11th. So he did cross the start-finish line. I don't know what's happened there, but a bit of an error. Have to see what happened there. But Cox finishes in 6th, Nether finishing in 7th. Taipan crucially finishing in front of Turmo in 8th and 9th. Kalen Duncan in 10th. So he made a late mistake there because he was running and chasing down Cox there for P6. Lachlan Locke on his debut finishing in 11th, followed by Rody in 12th. Cheese in 13th. He'll be disappointed after running quite well early on in that race with both the Hornets in the top 10. And then Snipes in 14th with that DNF. I don't know what's happened there because he did cross the start-finish line, but it says he's in 15th and DNF'd. And Horan, well, again, it's just moving Snipes all the way down there. So 15th. Then Pollard across the line. 16th, and then we have Miles, and Liccardo is a lap down. So very interesting race there, Brute. Hans early on did a good job trying to hold on to lead, couldn't quite do it, but then did a fantastic job in the end to hold on to P2.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's as good as Noah Tara's job in the GT3s, but it was still a very solid job. He didn't give his position up. And it's very good to see different people on the podium. Did see a lot of those HRT cars on the podium in the first few races, and they bagged a lot of the wins, and it's very nice to see some different winners. And I do not know what happened to Snipes. He most likely had some sort of penalty that DNF'd him when he crossed the line or something, because, yeah, that did not make any sense.
Yeah, my only thought is perhaps he had an internet issue right before he crossed the line, and it just showed him crossing the start-finish line, but he actually hadn't. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. What?
Yeah, he's not in the server, so you're most likely correct.
No, that would be an absolute shame. So we'll maybe have to review that at the end, because he did cross the finish line in the top 10 there, and we will have a look at that again on the replay. If he did, yeah, it says, looking at the chat here, Burko saying that he dropped out. So I will actually give him that position back because on screen he actually did cross the start-finish line. So the order that has been given on the thing there isn't correct. So when we do the reverse grid race there, Brett, I will need you to have a look at the standings there on the stream for me. But again, Stancliffe, fantastic effort in that one. Hans, a fantastic effort. And then I think Tim Redmond also, very patient. Didn't put a foot wrong. Had the pace to contend for the win, but qualifying, just letting him down. Anyway, we'll just take a short break. Just got to sort out the grid for race 2, which of course is reverse grid. So that's going to be very interesting. Seeing the faster guys try and pick their way through some of the slower traffic. So join us for that in about 10 or so minutes time. Don't go anywhere. everybody, and welcome back to the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship here from Mount Panorama. It's Scott Stancliffe taking out race 1. Had some fantastic racing within that top 5. See Hans Brunswick leading early on, eventually succumbing to the pressure from Scott Stancliffe, but did a fantastic job to hold off Burko, Redmond and Lime Mitch, with Burko making a late error on the final lap. He did try to send it up the inside of Hans at turn 2 on the final lap, but couldn't quite pull it up, and then making a bit of an error coming down the mountain, which allowed Redmond to get by up the dipper. And Brute, as you're saying, towards the end of that lap, that's going to have championship implications where they would have been equal on points, but now Lime Mitch still holds on to a very slender lead.
Yes, Lime Mitch is holding on to a 9-point lead, which in VS Supercars it's not very big. There's still much that could happen in this championship, including, as mentioned before, Lime Mitch is on his final warning, so he does have to be careful. But yeah, this reverse grid race is going to be very interesting around this track because the walls are very, very tight with the track. Track is not very wide, and some of these drivers have a lot to play for at the back of the grid, so they're going to want to push forward, but they do have to take their time.
Yeah, so I think that it's going to be the most important start of the season. So out of Lime Mitch and Steve Burko, I reckon if one of them can get a fantastic start and make up as many positions as possible at turn 1 and certainly at turn 2, that will put them in the box seat to not only finish ahead of their teammate in this race, but it'll obviously give them probably the that little boost and extra points that they need, provided of course they don't make a mistake later on in the race, to actually win the championship, albeit we still have a few rounds to go. So the most crucial start of the season coming up in about 3 minutes time, 3-4 minutes time. Still waiting on a couple drivers to rejoin the server, and then we will get back going again. So going to be very, very interesting. And as we've seen in qualifying and in the race, there's a very big pace differential between the faster guys and the slower guys, Pete. So anything can happen. And as you said just off air, and I completely agree, we could really see a bit of a roughie come home and take a win, with the faster guys being blocked at the top of the mountain by some of the slower guys, and perhaps if someone in that midfield that has a bit of decent pace, if they can get to the lead early, we could see an outsider come in and steal a win here.
Oh yeah, it would be so nice to see another race winner. Very, very, very sad to see that Matt Cecil isn't here tonight because he's not exactly the quickest driver out there, but he has one hell of a record when it comes to reverse grid races. As in another series that he runs in, we do some ute racing, and ever since he joined, every reverse grid race, he has managed to muster up and win the race. And he's really proven to be a good driver in it.
He has taken a win here in Super 2, which I did forget about. We have brought up the stats in the past. He did win a race at Townsville there, where he was quite handy, and even like those rounds before and after, he did have quite a bit of pace, but was a little bit unlucky at times, being caught up in some incidents and then just being stuck behind some slower drivers. So in that one, he was able to capitalise on the reverse grid, and once he got himself into the lead, no one could catch him. He had quite the pace advantage and had some clear air as well. So it would be good to see another driver claim a victory. We've seen a number of drivers take their first wins ever at AMSOZ in this series, and hopefully we can see a couple more by the time this season's out, and hopefully we can see one right here in race 2.
Yeah, I do believe we've had 12 or 14 different winners now, somewhere around that. Even the likes of Noah Turra, who, as some people have said, have been really due for a podium in the GT3s. He finally cracked that, and he also managed to get his first win in AMSOZ, I believe, at the beginning of the season. We've seen quite a few back runners in here that have been able to hold a result together. And yeah, a lot of drivers in here have at times really shown themselves to be a very good driver.
Yeah, so I've seen a number of drivers take their first wins, and we've also seen some first-time podium getters as well. So NZ Snipes, he come in and didn't look the fastest, but he has picked up his pace as the season has gone on and picked up a podium here and there. Obviously, Stancliffe, it's been fairly quick, but was a bit erratic early on. He's certainly turned the tables and he's certainly one of the quicker drivers now in Super 2 and around this Bathurst circuit. No one seems to be able to touch him, even after he's had, Jack Daniels beer and, he's probably double parked right now. And we've also had Nether. I do believe Nether's taken a victory. Burko taking his first win. Lime Mitch had won previously as well. Not first time out here in Super 2, but certainly in some of the Monday night series that we've ran in the past in the Rookie Cup. And maybe even F3s or something like that as well. Termo, he's won in TCR. I'm trying to think if he's won here in Super 2. I'm not sure if he has, but he's certainly a capable driver. And even then, we've had the likes of Daniel Cox show his pace at times. And Hans Brunswick, another one, recent race winner, first-time race winner as well. So certainly some good new talent, and hopefully they continue to stick around for the summer series, as do hear some drivers going out on the circuit. Had Daniel Liccardo just drop out, but we are waiting for another couple of guys as well to rejoin the service. I do apologise for the little bit of a wait here, but hopefully we can get going again soon.
Back on that Termo point, he actually has only the one podium so far in Super 2. He's just been very consistent. And for the wins, we don't actually have 12 or 14, we have 11. And 3 of them have managed to get multiple race wins, being Liam Mitch, Steve Burko, and Wayne Spencer. Yeah, we've had not many other people get on the podium, but there have been some, like I said before, some very surprised results. We've had the likes of John McDonald, who showed some very good pace at Barbagallo, who managed to get his podium. We've had Doint sneak onto the podium, and I believe was Hamilton. And we've had NZ Snipes get onto the podium twice now.
And speaking of Doint as well, it is his birthday, so if he's watching along or does watch along later on, happy birthday, and hopefully we see you at the next round. So happy birthday, Doint. So, well, while they're out in the circuit doing laps, I might as well show what they're doing out there. Another thing to note for this race as well is that with the reset of the server is that the track grip is no longer at maximum from all the laps that drivers have been doing from practice, qualifying and race 1, but it resets to low. So lap times will be a little bit lower, and you're certainly going to see some drivers at the top there. So you see like Mitch, as we cut to put it into the fence, demonstrate perfectly that the track is going to have a lot less grip. And I wouldn't be expecting 207s, at least early on in the race. You may see some towards the end, but certainly early on in the race, we're going to see the drivers struggle quite a bit.
Yeah, and I really am going to feel for the drivers that do run with any of their assists off, because the track being on light, it is very, very slippery with no assists on. And I do know that some of the front runners do actually run with them off, which is very nice to see. But yeah, even with them on, this track is very, very slippery over the top if you are not careful. And this could make for an even more interesting reverse grid race if they weren't interesting enough already.
Yeah, so low grip, fast drivers at the back, the slower drivers at the front. What could go wrong around a street circuit like this one? We have had some incidents in the past in these races. That said though, the last few rounds have been quite good in these reverse grid races, so hopefully everybody can get through and we have a nice clean run. But around this circuit with the championship up for grabs, I certainly expect there to probably be a little bit of drama and some dinged up panels come the end of this one.
And also back on the championship front team standings wise, I do actually believe that even with Stancliffe getting the win, the gap between HRT and 888 can now no longer be closed back, no matter how good the Red Bulls are for the rest of the season. So I believe the HRT team has actually now 100% clinched the title, if we didn't already think so before.
Unless, of course, they pick up a 4,000 point team penalty. So
That would
keep,
be great to see.
keep your eyes out for that one. So I got Mishra and Snipes out there going through at the chase, and Mishra's outbroke himself, and he's going to do some lawn mowing down there, right out in front of the hotel. But just waiting at the moment to see if everybody does rejoin the server. 19 drivers in the server. Having heard that Lachlan can't rejoin for whatever reason.
Do actually have one battle going on in the team standings. It's for third place in the standings. Tickford Racing, since Hans has joined, has actually scored about 800 to about 1,100 points more than Techno Autosport in the last few rounds. And it's only 450 points between them now with 4 rounds to go. So we could potentially have a switch on the podium step of the team standings.
Could you say that again? I was typing in the batch files, so I do apologise there. So what was that?
Tickford Racing with Hans and Nether. They actually have closed the gap by around about 800 to 1,100 points in the last few rounds. And the gap between them and Techno Autosport is now only 450 points and is obviously closing very quickly.
Yes, okay.
So we could potentially have a battle for the bottom step of the podium in the team standings.
Yeah, so Turbo want to be getting on the horn to, I think McLean was meant to be the second driver in that car. He has appeared for a few rounds, but I don't believe he appeared at the last round. And he's not here, obviously, this evening. So certainly helping Tickford out quite a bit, having only one Techno car there. And that'll certainly make the final few rounds interesting in the team standings. And, well, what a mid-season signing for Tickford. Hans Brunswick has turned out to be. Anyway, the server is ticked over, the reverse grid is set, so now we just wait. We will be missing one driver on the grid, so we'll be 19 drivers out there. Doesn't look like actually the grid's set correctly, but we will see what happens once this restarts. So hopefully everybody is in the right position. But yeah, so we've ticked over. Now just having a look. And I think it's okay. Just having a look at the moment. Yeah, it looks about right. So we will go ahead with this, and hopefully should be all right. So now just got to wait another 30 seconds, and then the formation lap will begin. And race 2 here from Bathurst will get underway, and it is going to be a championship defining race with a lot of cars in front of Steve Burko and Lime Mitch, and a lot of walls for them to clout into, as well as obviously cars to possibly, not only hold them up, but possibly if they hit them the wrong way or make contact, they could find themselves with a penalty for the next round. So very, very interesting and intriguing race ahead, as Liccardo's disappeared back to the pits and then come straight back onto the grid. So he's left that very, very late, but he's returned back, and formation lap should be starting any second now. Well, it should be, but there we go. So the formation lap is underway. Pete, why don't you once again run us through the grid here, the race 2 here at Mount Panorama.
Starting on pole for the reverse grid race, we have Dane Liccardo. He'll be looking to prove himself in the series, getting a front row start and could potentially pull away. We are yet to know. Glenn Miles, who looks to be very eager to get this race started, has bolted from the grid and is starting out of P2. Brian Walsh out of P3 with Cheese next to him. who I reckon is a outside chance of winning this race. In 5th place, we have Rhodey, lined up alongside another Xbox car in Lachlan Loke. 4th row of the grid, we have the Kiwis of Kalen Duncan and... Oh, no, sorry. It's Kalen Duncan and Termo on the 4th row of the grid. They've just switched positions on the track. 9th place is Taipan, alongside Nether, who will again, in my eyes, he is an outside chance of winning this as well. Daniel Cox out of 11th after a very good run in the first race. Line up alongside NZ Snipes, who'll be hoping that he does not have a disconnect like that again. Behind him, we have the 2 championship contenders in Lion Mitch and Steve Burko. Steve will be hoping to get... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to be back.
Well, we have Lion Mitch and Steve Burko, so our 2 championship contenders, starting a little bit higher in a reverse grid rate than what they're normally used to. Obviously, got a number of drivers requested to start at the back. Mishra did have a DNF as well, so that's why he is ineligible for the reverse grid race. Behind them, they've got Tim Redmond, who is very, very quick in race trim, so he's going to one to look out for as well. Hans Brunswick starting in 16th. If he can get another lightning start here in this one, who knows where he may end up. He may even steal a win if he can get his way through the field quick enough. But if he gets a start like in race 1, he'll find himself up quite a number of spots by turn 1. And Scott Stancliffe, winner from race 1, still half cut and probably, as I said earlier, double parked on a couple cans as well. Then we have Michael Pollard, one of the newcomers, and then Urjit Mishra, the only non-finisher after NZ Snipes was adjudged to have finished in 6th with his internet disconnect as he crossed the start-finish line. So that will be adjusted in the point standings, and NZ Snipes, as you can see in the reverse grid race as well as in the standings when it gets updated, will be classified in P6 from race 1.
I am back. I'm sorry about that. Just had to quickly tend to something.
That is
very unfortunate timing.
That is all good. Well, the race hasn't started yet, so probably as good as time as any. Although it did have about 15 minutes with multiple restarts of the warm-up. Anyway, drivers now forming up on the grid, and we're moments away from what is going to be a chaotic start. And in fact, we might ride on board one of the faster drivers at the back for the start of this one. So we'll ride on board the roof cam of Stancliffe for the start. So as you can see, all he can see is the back of Tim Redmond's car here. You can see the lights off in the distance. He'll just be able to see them from the cockpit, but he'll be relying from the in-game sound effects. Hans, if he gets a good start, he's got a HRT right in front of him. Anyway, the lights are on, and we're about to go racing from Mount Panorama. And away we go. Lion Mitch blocking there. Lion Mitch blocking Burko. Got Cox blocking Stancliffe, and well, into turn 1. Well, there's one of the Xbox cars off, but no major incidents by the look of it. And we've got Miles and Ricardo side by side as they approach turn 2. Over the rise they go. And Ricardo will lead into 2, but further back the 2 HRTs and Nether all side by side, and there's a bit of lag as the Xbox car goes warping through, and well, thankfully hasn't caused a major incident, but is warping all over the place. The 2 HRT cars look like they've got some great starts. Hans stuck towards the back end of the field, and once again that Xbox car just lagging all over the place, and just surely making things quite awkward for the drivers. As we do here, someone is in the wall down there. And Locke has been overtaken by Lion Mitch. So vital for Lion Mitch, another fantastic start. He's up 8 spots, already up into P5. And awkwardly enough for Burko, he's got Stancliffe behind him, and he's stuck behind the lagging car of Lachlan Locke, who is also sort of making things awkward for Rhodey, no doubt. Out of all that, Stancliffe has actually got by Burko. Burko was sort of blocked a little bit by the lagging car in front of him. Stancliffe just sending it up the inside of the lag car and then just warping through on the other side. Now Burko is going to go side by side with him, so quite awkward. And I think by the next round, he may have to have like sort of sort out his internet issues with that lag, because no one else is lagging. That's all on his end, and they're 3 wide with Hans and looks like Redmond in the background side by side, 3 wide at the back. Hans getting by all of them as well, and we've got a car off at the chase, a bit of grass flicked up. That's Stancliffe cutting across the chase, and he's definitely gained time there. That's eventually falling back and redressing position as up the inside goes Burko, who's also blocked at the same time by a defensive Miles, and Miles just sticking to the inside. Burko now going in the middle of the road. Stancliffe having a look up the inside. Miles braking early, and that gave Burko nowhere to go. A bit of an awkward one, that one, and that's going to cost Burko dearly, so right on board. But Burko wanted to get the move done, and then very, very early on the brakes was Miles, and that sent him around. Burko now trying to go around hold on around the outside from Redmond, who's made up a few positions in the last couple of corners. Stancliffe going defensive as well, and shades of Murphy and Ambrose, I thought, and Murphy and Ambrose in 05 there, but thankfully no incident between Burko and Stancliffe, but a bit of contact between Burko and Redmond, and that's going to see Snipes try and go around the outside, and another little bit of an incident there on the exit there for Redmond. Sees him drop a number of positions as drivers trying to go side by side as they come up the mountain. Not a good idea, but they're trying it anyway. Liccardo now dropped down to third. We've got Lime Mitch in the lead, vital for his championship hopes, and he's got Kalen Duncan behind him, and then we've got Liccardo with a big queue behind him.
Yeah, this is great for Lime Mitch's championship fight. Steve Burko is caught up in all sorts at the moment.
And he's got Snipes all over the back rim trying to send it up the inside. And now Stancliffe has got by Liccardo, and now Burko is going to sneak by as well. Literally contact as they exit Forest Elbow. And now the old F3 trick. They're all going to be following each other's slipstream. Burko going to have to try and hold on around the outside and then the inside here at the chase, and he'll hold on for now, and up the inside goes Snipes, and he's up into P5, and that's a bit of contact between Liccardo and I'm not sure who that was, maybe the Norton car. Just have a look at the replay here. Yeah, on the exit, contact. Yeah, contact, and he's still trying to get going there. Just trying to work out who that was. May have been Cheese. There's a Stancliffe and Burko. Bit of contact on the exit. Stancliffe will get that. Well, they're going to drag now down to P2, down into turn number 2. That's given that battling at the end of that lap has given Duncan a massive lead over Stancliffe and Burko. Stancliffe is now up into P3. Might just be wise for Burko at this stage of the race to just stop battling, let Stancliffe get away, and just follow in his wheel tracks, and then try and chase down the line Mitch and Duncan. Only on lap 3. I know there's only 10 laps. It doesn't sound like many, but we did see towards the end of the last race, Lime Mitch did fall away quite a little bit, but he was probably trying to overdrive his car a little bit.
Just been watching the sector times of all these guys going through the first sector. Burko and Stancliffe doing their battling has allowed Lime Mitch to gain yet another second on them, which is really not good for Burko. He really needs to get going as he's made a mistake.
And he's somehow not ended up going around. He's just over-driving at this stage. I think it's just getting to his head just a little bit. He's got a fast driver behind him, and he's trying to catch up a lot of time in a short amount of time. And he's just over-driving at the moment. And well, he didn't lose as much time as I thought he would to Lime Mitch at the top of the mountain there, but certainly not going to help his cause. That mistake, though, has brought him a little bit of a time gap between himself and Stancliffe, who was balked. And now he's coming under attack from Snipes. They're going to go side by side through the chase. Got Mishra up there in P6. He's having a really good run at the moment as well. And Hans and Redmond also recovering now in 7th and 8th. As we see Mishra, just as we talk about him, outbrakes himself at the chase. And that's going to cost him at least a position, probably 2.
And that's actually a really good drive for Mishra as well, because he actually started from the complete rear of the grid.
So, I'd forgotten that as well. So, yeah, that is a fairly handy stat. And that was his best lap at 2:11.8. So he hasn't been particularly quick. He's just avoided all the carnage that's happened. Nether out of all that finds himself in P9. Vitally for him, he's in front of Turmo, who's in 13th. And, well, Snipes, after trying to get by Stancliffe, finds himself now under attack from Brunswick, who's going to send it up the inside at turn 2. And again, side by side, this is awkward. Hahn's got a slightly better exit, but again, they're going to be side by side as they go to the cutting. And Hahn smartly backs out of it. Unfortunately for him, he's going to have to wait to see Mishra outbrake himself a little bit. And he's going to lose time to Redmond, as we see Nether all kinds of sideways out of the cutting. I mean, a lot of risk and reward here at the top of the mountain for these guys. And right now, Burko, he's going to have to probably take a little bit of risk here. He did hold the gap at the end of the last sector on the last lap there. It was 6.9, but he has lost a couple of tenths in the first sector. Would have lost probably a couple more as he gets by Duncan, who makes a mistake there at the top at the mountain. But he'll be hoping that Duncan just holds Stancliffe up a little bit as Brian Walsh gets himself a drive-through penalty. He's coming out of the pits, obviously speeding in the pit lane for him. I don't know why he's gone into the pits. Perhaps he's not put enough fuel in the car. As see our race leader in the lead. We'll just hold this shot here, the long shot here at the chase. And that's the gap between first and second. The two HRTs, two championship rivals. And then we have Caelan Duncan doing a really good job in third. He did have a good run in race 1. And there's Brunswick now looking to make a move at the chase. A little bit of contact with NZ Snipes, but he gets the job done. But he's got to watch out that that Nissan in behind doesn't just send it as well at the final corner. 9-inch fastest lap of the race as Brunswick outbrakes himself and into the fence. And he's going to... that's going to drop him to the back of the field. Thankfully, only 25% damage, so his car won't be too severely damaged. Shouldn't change the handling all that much, but costly mistake for him and for Tickford Racing as well. And Burko was able to claw back a 10th in the final sector there. But not enough really. That said, who knows what is in store in the final 5 and a bit laps here, Pete.
Yeah, and if I was Scott Stancliffe right now, I'd almost be thinking of having another drink right now, because he was proven before while he was drinking, he was doing some very impressive times. And he just looks, pace-wise, just to be struggling a little bit, but you never know. He's cleared of all traffic. He has a clear run at Burko now, and we might possibly see a battle on for second.
Well, it's either one or two cases. He's either gotten himself into a state where he's too drunk and it's affecting his driving ability, or he's sobered up and it's affected his driving ability. So he's not quite in that state of bliss at the moment that he was in race 1 or in qualifying. So he'll want to sort that out in the next lap or two, otherwise he'll find himself a bit of a distant third as he's losing touch to Burko. And further behind, we've got Edson Sykes now coming under attack from Tim Redmond, aka Block Knight. And Sykes, bad run out of Forest Elbow, and Redmond will take that position. And Mishra still holding a really good solid spot there in P7 as well. After starting from the back, he did DNF in race 1. So he started literally right at the back for this race 2 here, doing a really good job in P7, but I think he is losing just a little bit of time. So Mishra, see Redmond just outbrake himself at the chase, and that's going to encourage Snipes now to try and make a move at Murray's. And we've got yellow, we did have yellows out at turn 1, and that's Mishra. I think Burko fast lap of the race. What has Mishra done? We have seen him struggle at the chase here. Oh, and he got it sideways under braking, and he's gone each way, sideways, and, well, he's deep in the gravel trap down there. He's going to get it out there, singing his praises, and, well, he's now all the way down in 14th place. And got Hans has recovered back to 12th. It's further afield. The gap now down to 6.1 seconds, so Burko was able to claw back 9/10 of a second on that last lap. He's going to need a little bit more than that, though, per lap if he wants to have a chance of taking a win here, which, in all honesty, he desperately needs after that mistake at the end of race 1, Pete.
Yeah, and yeah, he has been looking pretty solid in the last few laps. I've been watching Liam Mitch a little bit, and he's he's got a big lead, but he's still just overdriving the car. He's hitting a lot of fences and he's missing a lot of apexes, but he's still managing to put some pretty decent times together. While Steve Burko, after that little incident that he had right in front of Stancliffe as he clips the wall, has actually been generally pretty clean around the track.
Yeah, 2/10 faster in the first split. We'll see what he can manage here at the top of the mountain. He has got Stancliffe, I think, just starting to edge close again. Yeah, he's lost 3/10. That little clip there, the exit of the dipper, costing him a bit of time. It's Stancliffe sort of maintaining the gap between himself and Liam Mitch. So Burko is going to need a bit of help here. He's going to need it quick. But that said, anything can happen at this racetrack as you go further back. Duncan and Redmond side by side at the chase. And Redmond around the outside gets the job done. And back up into P4. And he's about 4.2 seconds behind Stancliffe. Probably won't catch him in time without a mistake. But you never know. As Stancliffe, fastest lap of the race, 7.9. Race lead, I believe, set an 8.3 in that last lap. So he picked his pace up, and that's what he needs to do if he wants to win this one and extend his championship lead. And then further afield, we've got Netherrealm up in 7th, but he's got Cheese right behind him, and also Daniel Cox starting to close in, as well as Turbo setting a 2.09, so he's over a second faster on that last lap as well. So now that he's going to have to pick his pace up, otherwise he's going to have a bit of a train right behind him right at the tail end of this one.
Yeah, that is a very nice time from Tomo. He was more than a second quicker than a lot of people in front of him. He's pretty much quicker than everyone by the top 4 on that lap. Yes, I said 20.1.
Now they're a little bit wide there. Cheese looking to go the wider lines to try and set up a good exit. But there's nowhere really for him to go here at the top of the mountain. Burko a little bit better in the first sector this time around. It's got the gap back down to 6 seconds, but he has to find more time and has to hope for a mistake for Liam Mitch in this one. We have got Brian Walsh out of the race, unfortunately. But I think last time I heard he'll be a little bit happier when he sees the footy scores, as I do believe his beloved Bulldogs were giving the Bombers a bit of a thumping. And now they're just clipping the barrier there. That said, got Cheese right out sideways, and that's going to give Cox a lot of incentive and a handful of slipstream to get a move done here. So they approach 300 kilometres per hour side by side at the chase. And also further back we've got Turmo and Taipan side by side as well. And Daniel Cox around the outside. Does he get the job done? No, they're going to go side by side into Murray's. Further back, Turmo did get the job done on Taipan. And once again, Cox and Cheese side by side. Cox trying the up and under. Cheese smart to it though. Just balked his exit a little bit. Cox having a look up the inside at turn 1. This is allowing Nether to get away. Cox sends it up the inside though. Cheese gives him space. And Cox will get the job done. So good racing between those guys. Nice and fair, no contact at all, and it has cost them time. Cheese got the better exit out of turn 1 though, and he's going to send it up the inside at turn 1, as in the background we see that's Pollard having a bit of a spin on the exit of turn 1. Cheese up the inside, and he retakes P8. So good battle between these guys here in the midfield, which is, well, it's the best battle on circuit at the moment with a few laps to go, with 6.6 seconds separating first and second place. So right on board Turmo. Oh, Cheese hits the wall there, and well, it's shades of what Murphy did, I think, in 2013. It was a very, very big hit back then. It was just then, thankfully, only 25% damage. live to fight another day. Now Turmo looking to get a job done as Cheese locks up as he comes down the hill towards the dipper. And further ahead, we've got the two Nissans, Kalen Duncan and NZ Snipes battling out for P5 as well. Redmond still about 4.2 seconds behind Stancliffe, so he hasn't been able to make any inroads, but he's travelling along quite nicely pace-wise. And then in the lead, got Lime Mitch. Very flamboyant driving style, it has to be said. 2.83 for him, so he's very close and consistent to his personal best in this race. Burko, as he crosses the line, 2.82. Again, very consistent, and same as Stancliffe. So these front three, that time-wise, nothing really between them. Just not enough time really for Stancliffe or Burko to close the gap. Redmond setting his personal best though, 2.80. And another hot little battle now for 5th and 6th. Nether now out on his own. Cox has found himself in front of Cheese. And then we have Turmo, Taipan, Hans Brunswick trying to recover, setting his personal best 2.81. He'll be ruining that mistake at Murray's early on. Otherwise, he'd be staring down the barrel, I should say, of a top 5. And Pollard, after that spin, still finds himself in front of Mishra, who does a personal best on that last lap, 2:10.9. So not a bad lap from him. We've got Rody in 15th, Lachlan Lock in 16th place, with Glenn Miles in 17th. So a little bit of a battle between those guys down the back end of the field. Also got Dane Liccardo looking to recover as well. He's got a few dings on the left-hand side of his car. And he's looking to make a move on Glenn Miles. He happens to have a few people to race. And of course, Brian Walsh out of this one. But scrolling back, stick with the old Nissan battle here for 5th place. Closest battle on the circuit at the moment. Callan Duncan in one of his better runs of the season in P5. Always seems to do his best work in the reverse grid races. In qualifying in the first races, doesn't quite have the pace, but once he gets more familiar with the car and the circuits, he is able to keep it all together, even when under pressure from some of the faster guys. And staring down the barrel of a very nice result for Norton Hornets Racing. That said though, it's got a very flamboyant NZ Snipes in behind him. Likes to get it right out sideways quite often. And he certainly will have a crack, as we've seen in the past. Whenever he's close to someone, he will send it. But Duncan doing a personal best on that lap. He's doing the best he can to try and prevent that from happening. So as they begin now, the final lap of the race. And still got Nether Elmin starting to come under pressure from Daniel Cox. It was a bit over a second faster on that last lap. Two leading Fords in this one, 7th and 8th. And we've got Turbo and Hans side by side. So Hans has got by Taipan. He's caught them very, very quickly. And this is vital for not only the team's championship between Techno and Tickford, but also the Drivers' Championship between Netherelmian and Turmo. And the Oz up and under switcheroo. Textbook stuff from Hans Brunswick. Waits for the car in front to just outbrake himself as he's offline, and then just sticks it up the inside. And thank you very much. Nice job, Hans. And back up into 9th place.
We actually have a battle heating up here. Burko started making mistakes and Stancliffe is all over him. Almost got the move done up at Skyline.
Well, I don't know if he's actually made too many mistakes. I mean, the gap between himself and Lime Mitch has stayed at about 6.2 seconds. So perhaps Stancliffe's just started just to put it all together here. But he's going to have to tow.
Ooh, yeah. Burko has gone 3.1 seconds slower in the second sector to Lime Mitch.
So he's definitely had it on somewhere. And that 3 seconds would have only... Oh, yeah, there we go. 9 seconds now. Behind the race leader. We'll stick to it. Stancliffe's going to send it up the inside. Will he pull it up? No, he won't. And, well, Burko should get that position back. And, well, Stancliffe should redress that. Lime Mitch takes the win. And, well, Stancliffe still, he's going to send it up the inside, but he did have an advantage, so that position will be swapped. But Burko
Oh, he's got him.
just stole it. So in the end, well, there won't be a penalty post-race. If Burko had finished in third, there would have been. But Burko stealing it literally by a nose. Stancliffe finishing in third. Redmond will finish in fourth place. Kalen Duncan doing a great job holding on to fifth in one of his best runs of the season. NZ Snipes finishing in P6. Nether did hold on to P7, followed by Cox in 8th. Brunswick recovering to ninth after his off into the fence there at Murray's. Turmo finishing in 10th. Taipan in 11th. Cheese in 12th. Unhappy with his race, obviously. Mishra will finish rather lonely 13th place with a big ding in the front end of his car, but still, he ran up there early on after running very cleanly early on, and still not a bad result for him. Pollard on his debut, he'll finish 14th here in race number 2. Also got Rhodey and Locke battling it out. A bit of side by side there. We'll just have a look on the replay actually. So we'll just speed it up. And Rhodey's come from a long way back and just sent it. And a bit of contact. He did lift. And, well, then they both went off. And Locke did finish in 15th and Rhodey will finish in 16th in the end there. So Rhodey having a crack. The two Xbox cars dinging it out. And, well, Lachlan just finishing ahead of Rhodey. Miles finishing in 17th with Liccardo now coming around Murray's to be the last of the finishers in 18th. And Brian Walsh, of course, the only non-finisher in that one. Well, Pete, very, very interesting 2 races there. And, well, it's certainly going to make the championship very, very spicy the final couple rounds.
Yeah, well, in this round, there has only been a 3-point difference from the start of the round to the exit of the round, with Lion Mitch taking his lead from 18 to just 21. So it is definitely still on. Both drivers, steward-wise, shouldn't be in any trouble for this round. They both kept their car pretty clean. 2 very interesting points out of that race. First one being Kalen Duncan. It is definitely his best finish of the season. Before this, his best was only 7th. Completed the race home today in 5th, so very well done to him. But Lion Mitch in the lead of that race, he did 7 laps in a row, all bar one of them not counting for track cut. But all of them are between a 2:08.0 and a 2:08.3. So he was ultra consistent in that race, and very well done.
Well, his first laps and being able to get his way through the field quickly and efficiently served him well, and it set him up for what in the end was a very comfortable victory, and certainly helping his championship cause. Burko faltered a little bit in both races, and yeah, that contact early on in race 2 certainly didn't help, and certainly losing out in the end a position to, I think it was Redmond in race 1 there, could be crucial in the championship, but still very, very close between first and second. And it will be also interesting to see the team points and the points between Termo and Netherrealmian and Tickford Racing and Techno Autosports as well at the conclusion of this round. So some very interesting takeaways, some fantastic racing has to be said, Pete. And well, hopefully next time out we can see once again some fantastic racing.
Yes, well, next round we are heading to the only track that I have seen live, which is funny because I don't even live there, and that is Surfers Paradise. It should make for some very good racing. We are doing the old layout that the Indy cars used to race at when they came, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that the 2 chicanes at the start of the race can really throw it up, and to be honest, there's actually quite a lot of points around that track that can be as deadly as Bathurst, and it will make for some very interesting racing.
Well, it should be a lot easier for the drivers, at least in terms of the reverse grid race. It's a long circuit with plenty of places for drivers to actually make passes. So there's a little bit more areas where you got some straights where a faster driver could get a run and send it up the inside. So obviously you got turn 1, you've got the second chicane in the old Indy layout, and then you've got a run down to, I think it's turn 6. There's a long run down there that you can pass. Turn 7, the corner after, and then even after that, you've got a chicane after a fairly long straight. So you've got plenty of overtaking opportunities there in the reverse grid race. So we will see some good battles there. Also got some very low curves as well, so we shouldn't see so many rollovers that we saw back in 2018, where Automobilista Australia last run the Gold Coast circuit. Obviously, it is a different version this time, but should still be very, very interesting. That said, we will be going to a different version of Surfers Paradise and the Gold Coast. We will be running the modern version again in the Porsche slash Boxer Cup series brought to us by Antara. And coming up to events coming up here in Automobilista Australia, we do have the AMSOZ Porsche Cup. We've got a test race starting on Tuesday, the 21st of July. Got over 30 drivers signed up for that one, so hopefully we can get some more bumper numbers for that one. And then we have the Supercar Championship next Thursday on the 23rd of July from Hidden Valley Raceway for the top end twin sprint. And for those that are wondering for more information on the Automobilista Australia Bathurst 500, please tune in to that broadcast. It should be a crack of a race, but yeah, there will be more details about that race, and should anybody wish to participate or even just follow along or even perhaps even sponsor the event itself, please follow that broadcast on the Outworld broadcast channel on YouTube. And then the next Super 2 round on the Friday, the 31st of July from the Surfers Paradise Street Circuit, the old IndyCar layout from the mid to late 2000s there. And then, of course, Tuesday, 4th of August, the first round of the AMSOZ Porsche slash Boxer Cup from Long Beach. So some very interesting races coming up. Pete, thanks for joining us here in the commentary box, and hopefully we see you next time.
Yeah, very nice night of racing. Again, pretty clean, especially for a track like Bathurst. Was a bit unexpected, but always good to see. And definitely be good to see what happens in the next one.
Yeah, hopefully we do see some more of that nice... Yeah, we did see some really clean racing tonight, so hopefully we see a bit more of that for the rest of the season. Again, thanks for tuning in to the Loose 89 channel here for the Automobilista Australia Super 2 Championship, this time from Mount Panorama. You'll catch this channel probably... Well, we may broadcast the Porsche Cup test race on Tuesday, but if not, you'll catch us next on the Friday, the 31st of July for the Surfers Paradise Street Circuit here in Super 2. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We'll catch you next time.